Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you're having a great night. In this second video, I want to ask the question, how do people enter into homelessness? I mean, what causes homelessness? Because after all, if we're going to be part of the solution, we need to know what the cause of the problem is, don't we? So once again, I'm going to put a question up here on the screen, and I want you to pause the video and think about this question, or write down your answer, or talk about it with some of your friends or family that you're night without a bedding with. So here's the question. How do people enter into homelessness? Or what causes homelessness? How do people enter into homelessness, or what causes homelessness? All right, go ahead and hit pause, and after you've thought about it for a little while, go ahead and you can click play again. I'll be right here waiting for you. All right, welcome back. So, what causes homelessness, or how do people enter into homelessness? Do you have your answer? Are you ready for this? Guess what? Whatever your answer is, you're right. Well, probably. Sort of. Because guess what? There is no single reason why people enter into homelessness. It's a lot of different contributing factors, and everybody's story is a little bit different. So let me show you what I mean. I want you to think about the things that your family spends money on. You don't have to write them down or anything like that. I'll put some of them up here for you. We earn money, and it helps us to pay for things like this. But what if we don't have a lot of wiggle room in our budgets? Like, what if we can't afford our wants and we can only really afford our needs, our absolute necessities? Well, that's okay. Happens all the time, right? As long as we have what we need to cover our needs, we're gonna be fine. Not really a problem. But what if there's a sudden emergency? Like, what if there's a major illness in the family, or there's an emergency like a fire or a flood, or what if your car dies? Well, in a situation like this, you might think to yourself, well, I'll just go without a car. Think of all the money I'll save on things like gas and insurance. I can just walk or take the bus. But what if your job is, say, a half hour away? A half-hour commute? When you have to take the bus, that can take an hour, maybe even 2 hours. So suddenly you have to decide between getting your car fixed and actually having time to spend with your family. So then maybe you'll say, well, maybe for the time being, I'll just quit my job and find a job that's closer to me. But what if you get health insurance through that job? So maybe to that you might say, fine, I'll keep my job and I'll repair my car, but I'll just skip my electric bill this month, or maybe start putting things on credit cards. Well, then you have all sorts of late fees that pile up and pile up and pile up month after month. Was that exercise a little bit hard to follow? Did I lose you? Well, honestly, I kind of meant to, but only to show just how complicated our expenses can be sometimes. Because everything is sort of interconnected. We need gas and car insurance and cars and maintenance for those cars to get to our jobs so that we can have a basic income and maybe health insurance, so that we can help to pay for things like groceries or rent or childcare or a mortgage. The bottom line is that sometimes the solution to our problems isn't as simple as just cutting something out of our budget. Because everything is interconnected, and cutting something over here will have an impact on something else over here. Are you starting to see what I mean when I said there's no single reason why people enter into homelessness? It's because an emergency in any one of these areas of our lives can have an impact on all of the other areas of our lives, because it's all connected. And it's all a little bit more complicated than it seems sometimes. All right, so I know that this video was maybe a little bit of a bummer because we were talking about the problem. But in the next video, I'm not gonna leave you hanging because we're gonna talk about solutions and some of the things that different organizations like Family Promise of Wake County do to help families be their best. But I really wanted to take a video to focus in on this problem specifically for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is that sometimes when the topic of homelessness comes up, sometimes people just write off the problem and say things like, oh, that person or that family, they're just homeless because of drugs or alcohol. Well, for some people, yeah, that might be true. But remember what we said about just how complicated things can be, because everything in our lives is connected to everything else in our lives. And an emergency in any one of these areas can have a big impact on all of the areas of our life. So we need to remember, have compassion on people who are experiencing homelessness, because we don't know their full stories. And the second reason why I wanted to bring up how sort of complicated and convoluted this problem is because complicated problems can't have easy solutions, right? Hard problems usually don't have easy answers. And if homelessness has so many interlocking issues behind it, it's gonna take all different kinds of people from all walks of life to help to find a real proper solution. So let's listen to one another, let's have compassion for one another, and let's be open-minded with one another as we seek solutions to this problem that we call homelessness. Thanks, everybody.